Okay, so like I was telling Heather, we are doing something really cool today, which is like the quintessential of like what I teach is this bridging the gap between science and the woo-woo, the esoteric, right? So today we're going to be talking about the concept of bliss and how bliss is actually our default state. Like when things are flowing and going well with us, bliss is actually what we should be. We are blissful humans, and we have the scientific data to back that up, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I want you to just first like pause and think about that, and like think about like if anybody ever thought that that was even true. Of like, oh, humans' default nature is bliss, because I don't feel like anybody either remembers that truth or they act from it, right? Like I don't know that anybody like I don't feel like a lot of people would say that. And I want to do a really cool exercise with you guys. Sorry, hold on. Let me check. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to switch my internet connection. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Amazing. So today we're going to do an exercise because it's going to help you understand like how true this is and how it might be showing up in your business and how you can like use it like today to change something. And then we're going to wrap it up by like going over like the science and like how it works and why, and then the aligned action part of it and why that like levels into this. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. But I feel like this is such a cool topic.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, cool. So I want you to think back to, and if you have like a pen and paper, it's probably going to help the best. And also, like, I just wanted to show people this. A while back when I was in Colombia, I would always like show these funny notebooks because I'm like sitting in these nice cafes. Like today, I was like on the beach, like sitting there doing, and they were like this like like running this business but like writing in like a unicorn notebook, and people always think it's hilarious. So I just wanted to show that to you guys because we have like little paper shops here, but they're always for like kids, and it's really hard to find like nice ones. And now it's like almost a joke, like it's almost like, well, now I have to get cute little girl ones, which I love. So but people definitely call me out about it. They're like, why do you write in these funny little notebooks? So I'm like, I don't know. So, anyways, okay. So I want you to go to a time in your business that could be like things aren't working or weren't working. Or it could be like something was like frustrating you in your business. You have it.
hmm
Okay. I'm so curious because obviously I've been like, watching your business evolve, like especially over the last few sessions since your last month. And so I'm so curious what's going to come up and like where you're at. So yeah, if you want to share, if you feel like safe
Sure.
to do that, yeah. So like, tell me what's going on with that.
Do you mean the business now, or do you mean the question about a time when I was frustrated? Sorry.
Both. I wanted the frustration, but now I'm like, I want to know what's happening in Heather's life. So both, I
Yeah.
guess, if you feel safe to share that.
Yeah. No, things
Yeah.
things are really good. They're not as great as they were the first 3 months, but there's a reason for that. Due to my I had a viral video hit almost 5 million. And so
Wow.
yeah, great sales. But then it's gone to an audience in India, Indonesia, and parts of Africa. And they're genuine followers. It's not bots. We've confirmed that because they do love what I teach, but they're not buyers and they're not my audience. And so the algorithms
Right.
got over there. So I'm trying to bring it back and I don't really
Mm,
know how to do that. So sales have dipped, but now we know why. And I feel so much better now that I know why, because I started to wonder, what am I doing wrong? But it wasn't me. And so now I'm bringing the algorithm back. And honestly, if it doesn't come back, then I'll just start a second account and post on both and just keep going. I know what I'm doing is working. And even though I had some angst about it for sure, because I didn't understand the change, after looking at Google Analytics, I just have such a peace about it. So like
good. Okay.
a real piece about it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And also for anybody watching the replay, like please know that immediately one of the thoughts that are going to come into people's heads is I'm doing something wrong. And it's not
Yeah.
you. You're not doing anything
Right.
wrong. The thought that like the reframe of that is whatever's going wrong, I trust myself to handle it, right? I know how to fix it
Yes.
instead of making it personal, like
Yes.
I'm doing something wrong. And so many of us have this story. And so good to notice about yourself that that's something that comes up for you so you can catch it quicker. Because as soon as we
Yeah.
start to making it personal, it's about us, like I'm doing it wrong. People don't
Hmm.
like me. People don't like what I'm teaching,
Hmm.
whatever. That's when we get stuck. That's when we stop posting. That's when we like kind of take our foot off the pedal, right? And so
Yeah.
noticing that that's like a default way of like, your brain being like, oh, and it's not just you, it's so many people. Even I do that. So good to
Yes.
notice.
Yes. And I'm sure
Yeah,
part of it's from all the work we've done. It's got to be. It's got to be.
right,
Because if this had been a year ago, I don't even know how I would have reacted. Just the stress. It would have been so, so worrisome. But anyways,
right.
it's, yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to know that because that's really what this is about is like learning how to navigate it. Like people think like, especially when they quantum leap, like my private clients that have these like crazy things of like from 2K to like a 25K a month, like stuff like that, that happens with my private clients. And the one thing I see is that them not being able to hold it because of this piece, because they expect themselves at that point. They're like, well, I have to hold 25K and it has to be more the next month. And I'm like, guys, your business isn't always going to do this. Like, it's almost impossible unless you have a team and like people that are fully focused on the marketing side. So you're not worried about it. And even then,
Right.
you're still going to see dips. There's too many factors. If you're running ads, there's so
Right.
many factors there. If you're dealing with algorithm, there's just too many factors.
Hmm.
So the way that we
Hmm.
navigate this is when you learn that it's not personal and just still keep going. That's it. Like,
Yes. I
right?
love that.
That's it.
That's a freedom actually to really separate and know it's not personal. And that's totally what I can see myself having grown in that over this last year. So
Good.
I love it.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. Okay. So now I want to show you, and you're such a perfect person to do this exercise with because I want people to really like sometimes when I give the info, I think it's helpful, especially if people are like learning. Like you had said, oh, I like the way you teach, I like learning. But then like if they don't see how it blends in with the action from the brain perspective, they take their foot off the gas. Like a lot of people I think come into my world, especially in this container, and they'll have like so much good to say at the beginning, but then they stop showing up and they stop doing the work and they still expect the same results. And it's like, guys, like you still have to do the work.
Hmm.
Like you still have to show up, um, and or do like show up and watch the replays and do the work, right?
Hmm.
So, anyways,
Definitely.
it's always just interesting to see that. And I mean, of course, I take full
Definitely. Yeah.
responsibility because I haven't been like really engaged in the group and like talking about it, and that's about to change. But it's just interesting to see, like, from my perspective, is that everything is exactly what I want. If I really wanted this membership to be somewhere different, it would be. But there's a part of me that wants it to be here because even moving
Yeah.
everything over to the new platform, like, I was thinking like today I was writing out like Abigail's stuff and I was like getting so nervous because I'm going to do like a 10 spot thing of like, okay, for the first 10 people, they're going to get this powerfully you and a month in the membership. And then I was like, oh my God, what if I have so many people in the membership? And it overwhelmed me, not from a capacity, like I can hold it. It's the
Hmm.
tech stuff, it's the Facebook group, it's
Yes.
all of that. And
Yes.
learning, is that really aligned with my business model and how I'm going to move forward with that. And it's just interesting to see, like, from my perspective, me in it, what I teach you guys is like taking it personally, having this fear and being like, well, I have the fear, I get to do it anyways, and I trust that I'll make it right. But just the tech
Hmm.
part of things, and I can get support with that.
Oh
But like
yeah.
I
No,
literally was
it's
just like,
hard.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I moved everything over. Like everything is on the new platform. I haven't sent you guys out stuff yet because there's just a simplicity to the Facebook group that I like. But I know that as it grows, I won't be able to hold everybody in the Facebook group because I'll have to check when
Right.
people pay and stop paying. And that overwhelms me. So, anyways, that's
Yeah.
coming. I've moved
I
everything
get it.
over. Yeah, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just important for all of us to just be okay with the fact that a part of us really wants where we're at, or it wouldn't be here.
Hmm.
It's showing us
Hmm.
something, right? Okay.
Totally. Yes. Yes. I totally hear all that. I know.
Right.
So much of what we do is whatever, scary, overwhelming, or like you said, tech is just crazy and frustrating and can be so discouraging.
Yeah. That's why I like the simplicity of what Abigail teaches because she just uses Sandstorm. She doesn't have a platform other than Sandstorm. And Sandstorm to me is
Right?
very user friendly and
Yeah.
intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I could
I
run a
think it
membership for the
came,
Sand Store, I would.
yes, right. I know. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I think there is a membership option, but it's the higher tier. And like what I have
Oh,
now is so robust. Like, and
hmm.
it's $200 a month. It's like if Kajabi and what's the email? The big email one that people pay for?
ConvertKit?
ClickFunnels.
Oh,
ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels.
So, or for funnels, I'm sorry. So if ClickFunnels and Kajabi had a baby, that's basically what I use. Um,
Oh, okay.
and it's $200 a month, and I got it for $200 lifetime deal. So I couldn't pass that
Nice.
up, but I just need
Yeah.
like the team, like a team to like navigate this specific thing because yeah,
Yes. You need a VA in the Philippines. That's what I use.
yeah. And do they help you with the tech stuff? Like if you have a recommendation,
Oh,
that would be amazing.
well, she's an expert, yeah, in Kajabi. She's great. I found her 2 years ago and really trustworthy too. Like
Okay,
and great
if
English.
if you could send me her information, that would be amazing.
Sure.
Because I have a team, but sometimes that's not their thing either. And so I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate like all of
Sure.
that. And so, yeah, send
Yeah.
me her information. I would love that. Okay. So we're going to dive in. And I wanted to show you guys that when you're frustrated, when you have this story that like it's me, what's going to happen, how you're going to take action, how you're going to show up. And then we're going to do it from bliss. And I'm going to show you the
Okay.
difference. Right?
Cool.
Okay. So I want you to really go back to that time. So, like, as we embody a memory, our neurochemical profile changes, and the way that we hold our body also changes the neurochemistry in our brain. It's like the way that we hold our body kind of anchors us to the feelings that we had in that memory. And so go back. I mean, don't go outside of your window of tolerance. Like, don't throw yourself into something that's going to make you like have a panic attack, but like go back to like really feeling frustrated with what's happening and allow yourself to just be in it with no judgment, right? Like from a mother telling a child, it's fine to feel frustrated. It's fine to throw a tantrum. Like embody it, be it. And just let me know when you're there. Take all the time you need. There's no rush here.
Okay.
Okay, amazing. So, what do you notice about what's happening? So, it might be an emotion, it might be a feeling in your body. What do you notice?
Just so down, discouraged, and yeah, like caving in kind of.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you that if we were like in a one-to-one and I took you on a journey to like go back to all these times where you felt that way, there would be a neural connection to that. That's why you hold your body
Mm,
that way. There's wisdom
mm.
in the way that we hold our body. Okay. So is there any sort of like physical sensation to it, or is it that the hunching is the physical sensation?
Yeah, I think that's all that I'm aware of. Yeah,
Okay,
just
good.
the yeah, just so yeah.
Okay. I'm glad because my stuff, like I get overly sensational, which is why I have all these tools to help you guys because I get like that feeling in my stomach and that's like panic mode. And so then my brain's
Mm.
like freaking out. So I'm glad that you just get that. Like I know that probably makes you feel stuck, but mine would be like, like I'm going to have a panic
Right.
attack. Although that's
Yeah.
shifting. That's shifting. There's a lot. I'll share with you guys on the next call or if we have time at the end. But I'm in this crazy mentorship right now, and so things with me are shifting, and that way that I
That's
respond
cool.
is actually
Yeah.
changing, and it's cool. So, anyways, okay. So, what are some of the thoughts that you have from this place? So, I'm frustrated. Would frustration be it, or what do you think the feeling is?
Well,
Like, I feel,
yeah, no, I was just so down, discouraged. Yeah, very much in my head. What am I going to do now? I was overwhelmed.
yeah.
Um, and just sad, like almost like this is such a bummer. I've worked so hard, you know?
And you have, and you've been so consistent for so like I'm just so impressed by you. You're one of my favorite client stories because you're like I'm making this happen, and
I
you
am.
did, and you did. Like it was amazing to just see it. Okay, so now I want you to think about like the action that you take or don't take from this place. So like hunt your body, really like embody it because it'll allow you to like
Sure.
think from this perspective.
Okay. And so what's the question? The action, the good action or the bad action?
Both, both, like what you do and what you don't do when from this
Right.
place.
Well, I guess I used to really take things personally, but I did actually wake up the next day and felt more acceptance and that I can move forward. Not
Yeah,
necessarily, I didn't have the joy, but I have a sort of an acceptance, like I can only do what I can only do.
right.
But that was
Okay.
the good part. Yeah.
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 Okay. And so when you were showing up during that time, because I know that you're so consistent that you were still showing up, do you feel like you were showing up differently?
Oh, probably. I'm
Right.
sure. Yeah.
And guys, this is so important because whether or not we're conscious of it, like we've
Mm,
talked about this so much about why people buy from me so fast. Like they can land on a
yes.
page and never have talked to me before and buy from me
Yes.
like that. And it's
Yeah.
because I have such conviction in the way that I speak. And there's nothing in me that's like this, right? And don't get me wrong, I've had days where I was
Yeah.
like showing up like that and nobody bought, right? Like, and so we may think that we're showing up in a way that really like communicates how
Hmm.
powerful we are and how embodied we are in what we're offering. But
Hmm.
unconsciously,
Oh, yeah.
if we're showing up in that way, people unconsciously are also picking up on it. Like
I totally
maybe,
believe that. Yeah. Because that
yeah,
whole worry for the whole month, seeing things go down, I know it starts to play with you psychologically and emotionally. And then I just sense that I'm not showing up the same way. So I hear that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I've
Even the
learned
way
that
that
from
you
you too.
speak. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Even like anybody that's like watching this, like even the way that people speak, the tone of their voice, the way they hold their body.
Hmm.
And you can
Hmm.
actually like if anybody ever just needs a quick way to get into it, you can actually just move your body. Because as we
Mm.
hold our body, like if you can think of a time where you like maybe your first like 5K, month or whatever, there was a way that you held your body and that
Right.
probably emanates like this really, I did it. I'm so proud of myself. This is
Yeah.
amazing. And you hold your body from that place and then say the exact
Right.
same thing, you're going to
Hmm.
get a different result,
Yeah.
right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody ever just needs a quick, like, okay, Farron, I don't want to tap or I don't have time or whatever, go back to the last time you had a big milestone and it worked
Mm.
and
Okay.
hold your body that way, right? Like, and
Right.
show
Oh,
up
I like that. Hmm.
that way. It will change. And if you really want to like get nerdy about it, you can literally do like a video of you talking with the same video with one and then the other. And you can see the
Yeah.
difference.
Oh my gosh. I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right?
do.
It's crazy.
Hmm.
So that's what I want to show you. And then like that's from excitement. Then we're gonna bring a third part. We're gonna bring bliss into it, and then I'm gonna show you the way that you would respond from bliss because being proud and excited aren't always the same as bliss, and that's okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But what I've been doing in the last two private client sessions I've had, I had this download of like instead of bringing in their higher self, I want to bring in the version of them that channel. So a lot of my clients that work with me one to one are also very tapped in and intuitive and channel. And I'm going to start talking about that more because I feel like it's such a part of like who I am, but I don't talk about it because I've got like this very scientific side to me. And I'm like, you know what? Screw that. I get to be both. I get to be woo woo and channel and be psychic and also be like, here's the science to it. Like this is the other side of it. And I know that my people will find me and that people aren't going to like it. I've just been priming myself for it. I'm like, people aren't going to like it and that's okay. Then everybody will understand it. It's fine. But I want to show, and so the last two private clients I had, I did this and they got a different result. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. So
Mm.
so I'm not going to call it a channel for you, but what I am going to call it is your intuition because you're a mama and I
Sure.
know that you're super tapped into mama intuition. And I would say that's the same. I would say
Yeah.
it's when we have such a clear, like, guys, this is very important. So people will always ask me, how do I know if it's like intuition or how do I know if it's channeling or how do I know that it's like my higher self? It'll always be very calm. It'll
Mm.
speak very
Hmm.
clearly and slowly, and it'll speak in very short, like compact, like 5 year old. Like it's not going to be like la la la, like all over the place. Now, I have seen
Hmm.
people channel certain things that almost sound preachy and they're a little bit faster, but they're a master channel, right? So just as
Hmm.
like as a way to just know at the beginning stages of this work, it's always going to sound like you could probably go back to a time when you knew something, you had an intuition
For
about it.
sure. Yeah.
And did it feel very just simple, easy, quiet, calm?
Yeah. And with a slight bit of confidence too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And the other thing
Yeah.
is that I want to tell people that everybody channels, everybody knows how to channel. It's just a matter of like knowing how to tap into it, or if we want it or
Yeah.
believe it, or whatever. Like it's not like, oh, Fair knows how to, we all do it, right? It's just a matter of
Right.
how we relate to it. So I want you to go back to a time when you were like,
Okay.
I know, and especially leaning in the
Mm.
confidence part, right? Because it's a
Hmm.
big part of our business. It's like confidence. I know,
Right.
I trust. And I want you to feel how that feels in your body. And I want you to notice how you hold your body from that place.
Hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like just a sense of knowing that I'm meant to do this. I definitely do have that, which is
Yeah.
also why I persevere so much.
Right. I was just about to say that. I was like, that is like one of the biggest reasons why you've stayed on track is because you just have a passion for what you do. Right. But
Yeah.
I
And I
want you to
believe in
just,
it.
yeah, so much. Right. But I want you to just
Yeah.
notice like
Sure.
the difference of this.
Hmm. Yes. I can tell. Yep.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And
Hmm. Hmm.
and then go into the excited version or the proud
Okay.
version. It might be the
Yeah.
same, but it might be a little bit different. What do you notice?
Yeah. Probably just more joy, kind of how I felt when I started to see all those sales and those just start coming in every day. Yeah. It's
Okay.
that, yeah. It's that same feeling, just a confidence. Yeah. Like a knowing, but with joy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I was gonna have people like watch the replay, like do them separately and be like, okay, the excited, like proud version, what would
Sure.
they do? Right. But
Okay.
because your confidence and joy is already still here, we can do it together. So like
Okay.
if because you're embodied in it, I can see that those kind of have merged and that's even more supercharged. But for those of you like watching the replay, like you can just do one, I can do all three and then compare, right? And for some of you, it might not be different. Like the confident and the joyful person might be the same, right? Like just go with it. There's no wrong way to do it. So from this place, I want you to hold your body like this. And I want you to
Mhm.
think, what are the thoughts that come? Like, I can do this. I'm fine. I'll figure it out. Like, I'm good. Is there
Yeah.
anything else?
Feels like anything's possible. There's an openness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a magical place to operate from. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, once you
Hmm.
learn that, such magical things will drop in. We just have to be open to it, which when we're outside of
Hmm.
our bliss, we aren't, right? Like we're just very focused on
No.
the negative, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So all I want you to do is I want you to go back into that memory when you felt, and I don't even want to say frustrated because I was really hearing like overwhelmed, sad.
Hmm.
I forgot the other word that you said, but like going into that memory, right?
Right.
And maybe what's best is that you speak to that version of you and let them know like what to do and to give them that wisdom. Maybe that's the best way to do it.
Sure. So just visualize myself telling the other memory. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, yeah, that
Okay.
version of you when you were like experiencing all that negative stuff. Because what's going to
Sure.
happen is as you give that version of you this wisdom, it's going to change your perception of that memory. Remember, our memories aren't real. So it's
Right.
going to kind of revise the memory.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can come back to this place. And then
Okay.
I want you to hit like play on the memory of that like younger version of you and see how the memory shifts. Either the memory will shift or your
Hmm.
response will shift to that like punching, this isn't working,
Hmm.
it's personal. watch that memory play out after she has the wisdom from this version of you. We're literally creating a
Mm.
new neural network right now. That's
Yeah.
literally what we're
Okay.
doing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it totally shifted. Like
What
even
happened?
with new words.
Yeah.
Yeah, strutting down the street, just confidence. I've got this. I can do this. I know who I am. I'm worthy.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and so then, like, really noting this for anybody, like, because it seems like you really get it because you've been doing this work for a long time. But like for anybody else, it's kind of like really like noting what action and or how you would show up would be different from that place. Because imagine like you have a road,
Mhm.
right? So the old road is like the one where you were like, it's personal. I feel defeated. This is not going to work. Like I'm so frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. And but you're like, I'm still going to show up because I believe in what I do. But you're showing up like in a way that just isn't quite right. And then you go this way, and maybe you even do the exact same things. I don't know, and you show up differently. It's two
Mhm.
timelines to a very different result. What would be
Mhm.
different? Like probably the way that you showed up. Is there any other aligned action that comes up for you of like, I would have done this different, or I would have talked about this, or I don't know. See what comes forward.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's that separation from kind of being free from having to take thinking things are all so personal when really they're just not, and then feeling more free from that. And just knowing
Yeah.
it's kind of like accepting, I think you said this earlier, it's normal to have ups and downs in your business. But when every stage I go through is so new, it's always such a learning curve. So it doesn't feel normal for it to go down, to go down. But that's just life. And so there'll be ups and downs. It doesn't have to be always a part of me thinking it must be me, it must be me. But separating that and just having that confidence and peace. Um, and letting it go, like trusting in what's coming, trusting in yourself. Yeah, I guess feeling more safe, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I feel like is so minor that people don't clock as such an important part to success is this one thing of feeling safe to keep going and showing up as the most powerful version of yourself while you were navigating like these like down moments. That's the I think the difference between people that show up and they go in a downward spiral from this because they allow the story to
Hmm.
take them off track and then they really don't show up and then
Sure.
it just versus the ones that really just keep going in a positive trajectory is because they continue to not take it personally and keep going and know that it
Right.
literally even guys, this is going to sound really weird, but even when it has to do with you, it still has nothing to do with you. It's the person who's triggered. It is their story. It is their thing. Like literally somebody could
Right.
walk up to you and be like, you're a terrible coach. And it would still,
Hmm.
even though it's personal to me, it's still their own shit. It's not mine.
Yeah, that's so true. Hmm.
And when we learn how to embody that from this next
Hmm.
level of like, I'm gonna be fine either way, things not only like go in an upward trajectory, but things also just become more fun and ironically more blissful. Like, and maybe we should even talk about what bliss means. Like for me, I don't even know. Like we could look it up in the dictionary, but for me, it's very like calm. It's very I don't have any thoughts, right? Like this is the biggest thing that I've noticed. And so I started like a Kundalini mentorship where I get up at 6:30 every morning and I'm Monday through
Wow.
Friday and I meditate with my mentor every morning and
Wow.
it's super intense. Um,
Yes.
but cool because we're doing energy work. We're waking up
Hmm.
these parts of my body. And what I've noticed, I've only been doing it for like a week, and the shifts that have happened have blown my mind. The capacity that I have, and like I'll notice myself
Wow.
going to respond to things because my body wants to respond because there's some old neural networks there, but I just don't. And also
Wow.
the inner monologue is kind of gone, all from
Mm.
like doing just this work of like this kundalini
Hmm.
like energy meditation, which we tap into that here, but the
Yes.
conversation was what we work is also to get to a blissful state, right? And so I
Mm.
wanted to bring that into this work of like when you're present and you're not worried and you have
Hmm.
this sense of like joy and gratitude. To me, that's what bliss is. I don't know what, like,
Hmm.
what's bliss would you say is to you? I feel like it's like a personal thing.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. For me too, it's sort of like waking up with that sense of joy, well, it's sort of and an inner joy. I mean, you don't say, "Oh, I'm so joyful," but you have that
Right.
most positive outlook, and things feel good. And like you said, the negative chatter isn't there, and yeah, definitely gratitude helps with that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then when we bring this in of like, wow, that we are actually hardwired for bliss. That is our natural state of being. Like, doesn't that just
yeah,
blow your mind? Like, of the fact of
yes,
like, if that's our natural state of being, why are we not operating from that? And the reason I
right.
bring this up is because for those of us that feel like we should feel guilty for making a lot of money doing what we love, this is the science. And I'll give you like, so
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
I'll drop it in the Facebook group, but I'll give you like the science behind it and the girl that did it. So she wrote a book. It's called The Molecules of Emotion. And I'm going to drop it in the Facebook group for you guys. And her name is Dr. Candace, I believe it's Pert, maybe Pert. I think my handwriting is so terrible, but she has her PhD, and she is a research professor for Georgetown University Medical Center. So like a very
Mm,
high level university. This is not some woo woo
hmm.
thing. But what she's
Right.
done is in this book, she looks at emotions and the mind and the physical body and how they all connect with each other. And what she came
Hmm.
up with is bliss is our natural state. This is from a
Hmm.
researcher at Georgetown,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so for those of you that ever deal with any sort of like question of, do I just get to be blissful? Do I just get to be happy?
Hmm.
So many of us
Hmm.
are addicted to the struggle and addicted to it being hard and addicted to like the drama. And it's like, this is our natural state of being. We are
Hmm.
hardwired, literally wired in our brain to be blissful. And then we come into the world, and the world tells us something different. Our parents tell us something different. We don't have tools to navigate everyday stresses. We take everything personally. And before we know it, we're living in almost complete like
Hmm.
reactivity and
Hmm.
negativity. And then we wonder
Hmm.
why we don't have capacity for anything.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's powerful stuff. I once heard something very similar by a scientist, that our brains are made to love, and that
mhm.
the negative chatter creates those connections that are dark, literally dark and black in the brain, which shows we're made to love, to be in best health. And
Yeah.
I think love is
We're,
that positivity of bliss and joy, right?
Yeah. And I mean, without going too far down the rabbit hole, because I feel like I could go so deep with this of like, I don't want to necessarily go down the rabbit hole with this conversation, but just to say what I personally believe of like, I was raised in this really strict, like Christian dynamic where I have trauma from it. Like I had to be in like years of therapy after leaving the church because it was like cultish. It was very unhealthy. And
Oh,
so I spent many years of being very anti-religion and learning how to like navigate that as somebody who's from a place where everybody's religious, right? And so, and there's not
hmm.
knowing how to navigate it. In the last few years, it's been calling me like what I would call like Christ consciousness and like Mary Magdalene and this whole conversation and like really looking at it from like very scientific perspectives of like the stories and when they go back and they talk about the Bible, and I feel like the Bible has the same exact message that
Hmm.
we're supposed to be, and they talk about like I think the Bible talks about love more than any other word in the whole Bible.
Yeah,
It says love more than
yeah.
anything. But we've gotten so far from that. And so for me, it just helps like
Hmm.
bridge that gap of like, the Bible isn't wrong. The interpretation in my perspective was wrong. Right. Like,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah, I
was
hear you.
like, especially for anybody that's religious. And if you're not, the Eastern cultures also Like for me, it's all the same story. It's just a different interpretation. And that's the story is like, it's the love, it's the bliss. That is our natural state of being. And so you just saw it. You just said, well, I would show up this way. I would act this way. I'd respond to this way. I
Mm-hmm.
would do it this way. But if
Mm-hmm.
we know that, why are we showing up? And that's our human side. We're not like
Right.
beating ourselves up over it, but we're noticing, oh shit,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Okay.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're in it, it just feels so bad. It's hard to get that separation. And I feel like too, I want to add to that. Was it, I think the first time I heard, was it Bridget? Is her name Bridget Jamesling? I can't remember. Anyway, she used to say
Oh,
something about the more successful she became, it was some sort of journey of self-love. And a year ago, I didn't understand what she meant when she said that. I didn't get it.
yeah.
But with my work with you, because all of our false beliefs kind of come down to letting those go and loving ourselves, this
Right.
is a journey for me of self-love. The more successful I can become or have become is about loving myself. But
Yes.
why is that? Because I guess those false beliefs weren't loving myself. I don't know. It's just it all overlaps and
Well, it's the
somehow.
invitation. So anytime that we have these patterns that come up over and over again, it's trying to show us. It's like a fire truck coming by, like something's wrong. Can you please look at this? And so I think that's what she
Mhm.
means is any level of success, like those things don't just go away, they just show up in different ways. And then we have the deeper connection of radical every time I'll like, man, this is radical self-love. And then it's like, oh no, this is
Mhm.
radical. It just keeps going. There's no
Yeah.
and like when you talk about something like, for example, in the Bible as well, like or maybe not in the Bible, but like this concept of what am I trying to say? Like the journey versus like the end result. Like people are always trying to get to the end result. And I'm like, guys, this is a journey. This isn't end. You have to
Right.
learn how to ride
Yes.
the wave. And that's what it
Yeah.
is. Like it's learning how no matter what's happening in your business, that it's completely external from not only your desire, but your inherent worthiness to just be happy. And when I tell people for the first time, like, guys, your job is literally just to do what you love and you'll have what you desire. And they're like, that's the, especially moms, right? They're like, to put everybody in front of me. What are you talking about? And it's like,
Mhm.
once you learn how to put you first, you become better at
Mhm.
everything. You have more capacity for everything. You have more clarity. You have more understanding of how to move forward in a way that feels good. But we've just been conditioned that it can't be that easy.
Mhm.
It can't be that.
Yeah.
I can't get what I want making a lot of money doing what I love. That's just too easy.
Yeah.
And my clients that have these big cash months very quickly, that's the one thing I see in all of them is that almost all of them immediately turn around and start putting more stuff on their plate, or they'll
Wow.
like do something of like self sabotage because their body is just so like, how did I go from here to here? Right. And it's, it's just mind blowing of like, I see so many people say, okay, strategy is the way to go. And yes, of course, we're business owners, we need strategy. But when I think about this part of it, I'm like, yes, but if your body or your brain doesn't feel safe to receive the cash
Mhm.
with ease and the success
Mhm.
with ease, you just won't allow yourself to experience it. And that's like, when I talk about power, that's what I'm talking about is this personal power of I'm the only one in the way. And as soon as I can change that, then I can just receive it instead of being like, well, I have a good coach or I have the algorithm or I have this or that. And it's like, no, you're that powerful. Why are we so
Right.
caught up in not
Right.
being that powerful? And we are, right? So, okay.
Mhm.
So the thing that I want to
Cool.
end with is that I want you to really think about like aligned action because that's something else that's been coming up a lot that kind of came in when I was writing all of this out of like I know you're really good at it, but like why aligned action is so important. So the
Mhm.
first thing is that you're getting information from other parts of your consciousness that you didn't have before. Like you had it, you just weren't aware of it, right? That's the first thing. And the reason that you have the awareness of it is because your brain and body now feel safe or worthy or whatever the story is to access it. Okay. So that's the name of the game. But on top of that, it's literally giving you the roadmap of what to do next. Like a lot of people like, I don't know what to do next, or maybe they don't have the clarity. I get that conversation a lot. And it's like, not only are you building trust with yourself of like, when I get these downloads, when I get these insights from clarity, from
Hmm.
alignment, I take
Hmm.
action. So that's the trust of like, okay, I trust that this is the right thing to do and take action. And actually, the quicker you can take action on those downloads, the more
Hmm.
successful you'll become. Like I'm the world's worst. I have so many downloads and stuff, and it'll take me forever to take action. And then the energy is gone from it. It's like, oh wait, what was
Yeah.
I doing again? Or what did I scribble down?
I know.
And it's always how it is. Like what I teach people, the stuff that I have, that's how I know it so well because I've been there, right? And but to start trusting yourself that it is like divinely given to you, like for lack of a better
Hmm.
term. And so getting really clear from this place of like, what's the next step? And it doesn't always have to be an action in your business. It can just be like, I'm going to rest, or I'm going to read this book. Like, I'm going to go take a walk down this road. And then you take a walk down that
Hmm.
road and you meet somebody and they buy your, like, it's just, that's how I get like these crazy things that happen to me. It's because I listen, I do stuff. Like, I'll literally have like a
Yeah.
road and I'll be like, ooh, I feel like I want to go this way, even though I was going to go that way. And I do it. And I don't know why, but I just do it.
Yeah.
And so when we learn to do that in our business, whether it's just a small tweak or whatever it is, there's a reason why it's coming up in this very blissful, joyful, aligned state.
Hmm.
And so I don't know for you, because I know that you're so in action. So I don't know like what the answer is going to be, but like if there is an aligned action step here. And so maybe you say your intention of, and you don't have to say it
Yeah.
out loud if you don't want to, but like, okay, my intention is to make X amount this month. What do I need to do to get
Right.
there? Right.
Right.
And it'll tell you. Like,
Yes.
that's the crazy thing is like we already have the information. We just have to learn to access it and then act on it.
Yes. Well, I did get a great sort of light bulb moment. Now, I don't know if this is an excuse, but I do feel like I don't have the time yet. But my part-time work at the nonprofit will be ended at the end of this month, and I'll have the summer. But anyways, it was just I finally got an idea for a mini course because I only offer one thing and I need to have something else.
Yes.
Finally came to me.
I am so excited about this because we've been talking about this since the beginning of our work together, like a year ago, of like
Yeah.
diversifying her offer suite. But this is such a good point, is that we've talked about
Yes.
that several times, but she
Yeah.
didn't have the capacity or the space for it. That's why it wasn't coming. That
Yeah.
like
And honestly, I believed there was nothing. No, I only have the one. I've thought about it and thought about it, and there's not I have nothing else. Well,
yeah.
now I have one.
Yeah. And why do
Yeah.
you think that is? When you really think about it, it's like, well, why now?
Well, exactly. I think it all relates to everything that's shifted and changed. Why now? I was finally ready.
Ready, have the
I was ready.
capacity, have the well, and also she's also like your work schedule is a lot different than it was this time last year. You were
Right.
working a lot
But
more.
actually, by ready, I do mean psychologically ready. That's what I
Yeah.
mean when I say that.
Yeah.
I was finally ready, or nervous system ready. I wasn't
Yes.
ready, obviously, before. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Same with,
Yeah.
yeah, the sales, all of that. I know it's because when I say ready, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And
it
it's
was
so
just I felt
true.
ready, yeah, I felt ready 3 years ago. No, I mean the psychological, or
Yeah.
what is that? Maybe
It's
not psychologically, the nervous system.
Yeah, it's so easy to be like, this is what I desire. And then if you sit in it and it feels so like hyperactive that you're like, oh no, there's
Hmm.
something. And I do this in my business because when I actually show up in my business, it does really well. And then I'm like, like this is too much, And that's why I'm like changing my business model because I don't want to have to, give support to so many people one to one,
Yeah.
like, or not one to one, but even like in group containers. So that's why I'm changing my business model. And I think this is such an important thing for those of you that watch the lack, like manifesting from like lack or like taking action from lack. This is what I mean by that. So I am changing my business model to do passive income. So it's like, pre-recorded things that I don't like, you don't have access to me and it's low ticket, right? But the point of that is, do I really think I'm not going to ever do one-to-ones ever again? No, I have a few like very like high level, like I don't mean high level as like they're high level, but like very expensive. Like to work with me one-to-one
Hmm.
now is like a lot of
Yeah.
money. And so I do have a few of those clients, but the point is that I get to then build my business model from overflow, from like
Right.
regulation, and then decide to take on one-to-one clients versus I need to pay my bills and I need to get this going and
Yeah.
la, 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 like
Yeah.
creating a business model and selling from that place versus I am good either way and I feel great and choosing to take on people from abundance. And that's a
Hmm.
very different thing. And that's what the point to this is that these things come in when you're ready for them. It's just you have to clear out all the cobwebs first and to have
Hmm.
the clarity to even see what that is and then
Yeah.
feel safe to receive it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So am I
Yeah.
hearing over the summer, like not time yet, but over the summer you're going to do a mini course? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh yeah, that's when I believe I have the time to just to create it. Yes. And it's a mini course.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. So
Yeah. Are you going to do Abigail's thing for that? Like I know that like she, yeah, I'm not sure. Like her product suite is
oh
so different than anything I've ever noticed. So I'm like,
yeah.
this is so interesting.
Do you mean her the latest the launch one? Is that what you mean?
That or there's also one where it's like shows you because if anybody's watching this, I get questions a lot about well, how do I create these courses? But I guess you've already created a course, so
Oh,
you're kind of good at that.
yeah. Okay, so yes, I highly recommend this woman. She's Canadian. Her name is Gemma Bonham Carter, and I bought her course on how to make a course, and she
Okay.
takes you through all the steps from beginning to end. But I mean, it's about an $800 program, but filled with quality and value. And the cool thing is she did it several times herself, and she was a blogger before that, so she really spoke from experience. And then in these last 3 years, she's got extreme success. She's genuine. Everything she teaches is quality, not fluff. And she's living in France with her family right now. So
Amazing. And so I
yeah,
guess that's how you created your course, right? Because I feel like
it
so many
is.
people will come to me
Yes.
and be like, I don't even know how. And it's like, okay, like,
Yes.
yeah, and that's
That's
totally fine.
yeah, that's literally
Okay.
how I created it with she helps you go through the outline, helps you do, create it, launch it, how to get signed up with an email software, how to do this, how to do that. Yeah, it was just, so many
Amazing.
steps. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And yeah, and then the last thing I want is like if something comes forward for this, but like how to tap into your bliss. Now knowing that that is
Right.
actually your natural state of being and how you're meant to operate,
Yes.
and that you have full permission slip to just operate from that. What
Yes.
changes from that place, if anything, and just see what comes forward. Maybe nothing. I don't know.
Yeah. The feelings change. The I feel encouraged. I feel empowered. I feel joyful. I'd love to wake up feeling like this every day.
Right. And it's
So
possible as we
it is
practice it
possible. Yes.
and
I believe
our
it's
and our bodies start to acclimate to that being our normal. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. I am not so much anymore, but was so hardcore addicted to like the struggle and drama because it's all I knew growing up. And after you have so
Mhm.
much trauma, like your brain is just like, well, it's always going to be this way. I guess I deserve that, right? Like, but now that I've let go of most of those stories, not all of them, I do just get to wake up like this. Like I just get to just be blissful because it's my God given right, or however. If you're not religious, that's fine. But like
Yeah.
like whatever it is, and then prioritizing it, right? Just being like,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's not like again, like I just want to end by saying like it's not that like you like we are human. Like I embrace your human emotions, but the quicker you can like be angry and get it out. I mean, I don't mean go yell at people. I mean excuse yourself, like write it out, tap, whatever. Like don't go yell at somebody and then handle it from like a more centered place. But the quicker you can catch it and get it out, journal about it, whatever, the quicker you come back to center. And as you do that more and more, you just default to the bliss versus the other emotion, or you'll handle stuff from that place, that very centered loving place of I hear you, okay,
Hmm.
this is my boundary, good luck with everything, and move on, right? It doesn't have to be this big
Right.
thing, right? So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see how this shows up like in your life and in your business, that you just get to operate from this place and remember that
Me
you
too.
can move your body to kind of
Hmm.
do that. So maybe what something might be cool this week to do is be like, all right, before I do any recording or before I do any
Yeah.
content, I'm going to move my
Yes.
body in a way that feels that way.
Yes.
See if
Yeah.
that
No,
changes anything.
I totally hear that. Sometimes before I do record, I think of you and I do just a little bit of tapping and, or even visualization so that I can find that place because I do believe it. I didn't think of it before, but you've taught us that subconsciously, if there's worry in there, it might show like, or people might pick it up. I mean, that's all I mean.
Yeah, people do. Like they can tell, like if you're over there, like I see this a lot where people like try to sell something for like a crazy amount of money and they're talking about it. And I'm like, they don't believe it's worth that.
Mm,
Like I can
hmm.
tell like immediately. And people are like, oh, you just need like a good launch strategy. And yes, I believe that's true as well. But you also have to have the energetic part of it, right?
Yes.
And like,
Yes.
yeah, so amazing. So, okay, I'm going to post this. I'll post the book in the Facebook group. If you can send me the
Okay.
girl from the Philippines, that would be amazing. And if you want to drop the other
Yeah.
girls' information in there too, I'm happy to share
Yeah.
it if anybody wants to start a course.
Yeah, for sure. And quick question. So how
Yeah,
long
of
are
course.
you doing this? Is it a meditation in the morning? Is it how, I'm just curious, is it a 10-minute,
Yeah.
20-minute, 30-minute?
Whatever he feels like. And guys, also, this is
Oh.
what's crazy is so because I've been through a lot of trauma with males as well. I never thought I would be open to doing this type of work with a male. And actually, right now, I have two male mentors, and
Hmm.
I'm both doing deep work with both of them, which I found really interesting. I was like, oh, and they do very similar work, and they blend really well. So Monday through Friday, and sometimes it's like 20 to 30 minutes, but now I can tap
Mm,
in so fast. So we have to go slow
hmm.
because I don't know how much you know about Kundalini, but it's sacred sexual energy, basically, which I
Oh,
know
okay.
sounds
No,
really
I didn't know.
scary. Yeah, it sounds really scary, but it's bliss. Like so when you can move this like vibration kind of up your spinal cord, it moves all the blocks in your chakras. And it's so crazy
Mm,
to see the text from it. Like you've got the text from India, and then you've got the text from Europe, and then you've got the text from Egypt, and they're all saying the same things in like different words, right? It's really interesting. Um, and tantra and kundalini don't have to be about sex. It's just the inner. It's life force, right? That's what it
oh,
is.
right. Okay.
Instead of like Reiki being external, like I'm channeling the universal life. This is within me, right? This is
Mm,
my own life force that I'm channeling, and it's sometimes very subtle, but you have to be careful because you can go too fast. And so
mm,
sometimes we only do like 10 minutes because I'm just like it's too much. And it's not like I don't know how to describe. It's just this bliss. Like that's the best way I can
mm.
describe it. It just But some people like will shake and like whatever. I imagine it's probably very similar to like, the Bible talks about us having these like experiences where people shake and do stuff. And it's like, that's what they're talking about, waking up this energy that is
Mm,
ancient that we've
mhm.
known about for so long. And it's not like go out and have a bunch of sex. That's not what this is about at all. Because when I say tantra or sacral sexual energy, people's faces are just like, oh my God. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me
Yeah.
like explain. That's not what we're doing. It's just
Yeah.
life force energy. But how do you
Yeah.
create life? Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Is it sort of like drawing up the energy from the pelvic floor? Is that why they call it
Hmm. Yeah.
sexual energy? Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So you
fascinating.
start there, but my experience specifically has been a little bit different because I tend to operate up here in my higher chakras anyway, and my energy is
Mm.
always up here. So simultaneously, what I visualize is almost like a this coming down while this is going up, and that's for
Oh,
me
yeah.
my balance because my other teachers don't teach me that. That's just something that I've
Hmm.
had these. A lot of times I feel like I've taken mushrooms, like I'm having a full on visual experience. And I'm like
Wow.
telling my mentor like what I'm experiencing, and he's like, okay, well if that works for you, cool. But just the amount of energy I have, and that's what he was talking about of like he was like, we aren't gonna because we're doing it with my business, right? He actually
Mm.
came to me and offered this to me for free because he knows me and he knows my business and he knows that I've done
Wow.
really well in business while not showing up
Yeah.
consistently. Like he knows. And he's like, I want to do this with you and do like a case study and offered it to me for free, which I was very like, you
Amazing.
can't offer that to me for free. That's every day for 3 months. 3 months, Monday through Friday. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like, okay. So, but just in a week, like the point is to charge the battery so I have the space and capacity to do what I know is coming in. Right. So you've seen me
Wow.
like be like, oh my gosh, like if it gets really big, I'm nervous about it, and it's like now I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm nervous, but I trust myself to handle it. and I just have
Wow.
more space and capacity to deal with it.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have a minute for me to share something?
Yeah,
Or,
of
and do
course.
you edit this
Yeah.
at the end? I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but it's over an hour. I
Yeah.
don't know if this relates. I'm wondering if you could tell me if it relates. So
Sure.
sometimes I started what I called, I just call it like a heart prayer, but it's not really prayer. It's oh gosh, I wanted to say it quickly. I read about the sort of the electromagnetic field that we emanate as people, and that the heart emanated about 8 to 10 feet from the body compared to the brain. It was so much more. And I really liked that. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pray, meaning send my love energy to my child if conflict or we had a worry or and nothing serious, but I just tried it almost for fun. It changed something. And so now
Isn't
I
it
do this for
wild?
it totally changed something. And I can only guess it changed me, but all I can say is, for example, I don't know, I was planning a special lunch with my daughter. She had graduated from university, and I didn't want to have any of that negative tension if I might mother her by accident. I want us to enjoy each other, but it didn't always come super easily because unfortunately I'm like a mother and I'm in mother mode. No, I want to turn that off. So I just did this. I just enveloped those really pure, loving feelings I have for her and visualize sending them to her. And I did this for 10 or 15 minutes before we got together. Wow. We just, everything was easy, loving. But I imagine I was just probably shifted. Anyway, so now I do this. And I sometimes say to myself, I feel like it's a superpower
It
because
is.
that's how powerful things shift. Anyways, I just wanted to share that, but I don't know if that relates at
No.
all. I
Of
don't know.
course it does. Please
Does it?
share all of this stuff. So, do you know who Andrew Huberman is? He's a
Yes.
neuroscientist. He
Yeah, I
actually
think.
recently did a podcast episode on the power of prayer. And he's like, guys, I never thought in a million years I would ever do a podcast because he's very scientific.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was really cool to understand the neuro science behind why it's so powerful. And then the
Hmm.
other side of that is I've had so many mentors tell me it's called going first is what we call it. And it's the same concept of us, I've done this and I actually wrote content about this. I had somebody try to back out of a container. And
Hmm.
I do this. I'll be very heart centered. I'll open my heart and I'll revise what I want, what happened, and
Yeah.
then what I want to happen from that place. And every time it works. She went from wanting to back out to not
Yeah.
only doing the container, but not even being finished and paying in full to work with me 6 months in full.
Wow.
Powerful,
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. I know. I had a conflict with a friend, so I did this. That was the first time I did it with a friend besides my kids. And the conflict was very hurtful. Actually, I think I posted about that. That's right. But that's what I did when we were going to have our phone conversation to work things out. And so I did that heart-centered, sending her that just love, embracing those feelings. And that conversation went unbelievably well. It couldn't have been better. And it was so sincere and so great. I can't even explain it in words. And that was the first time I said to myself, this feels like a superpower.
I have chills, and I'm gonna leave you with this. This is gonna blow your mind, I feel like. So I'm in this rabbit hole about tantra and like ancient, whatever. And I somehow end up on this guy who is very well known. But he's so cool because he is a shaman, but he was also raised religious. So he's like, when I go in, I go all in. So I went and did the Southern Baptist thing, and then I went and did the Buddhist thing, and I went and did all these things because I want to know, I want to understand. So I trust people like that aren't just like my way's the right way. I'm going to dip my hand. So he's amazing. So I ended up on a podcast episode with him. Oh, I know because he was with somebody I follow. And so this morning he pops up on my Instagram and he said, how to remove a hex. And he said, this is the
Sorry,
quickest
how to
way,
remove a
like
witch? Sorry.
a hex,
Oh, a
like if somebody
hex.
wishes you bad,
Yes.
right? Like wishes bad
Yes.
on you. And he said, this is what he said. He said, get into your
Uh-huh.
heart space and tell and wish them all the good and it will dissolve it. I literally have chills right now. I feel like the
My
universe is telling
gosh.
me what to do. The universe is like, if you ever had issues, this
Yes.
is how you handle it. See, the universe is
Wow.
funny. The universe is always showing us a way, right? Of these little
Hmm.
coincidences. I don't really believe in it. I'm like, no,
Yes.
there's no coincidence. It's showing us something.
Yes. That is so true because that's exactly, she was quite harsh.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it
remember
was a
your
little,
post. It was rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. That's so
So
cool.
Guys, to recap, be in your heart, be in your bliss, and everything will just work its little self out. And how simple that is, but to notice our humanity, to make things harder and to be okay with it being like to make it harder. It's okay. We're human. We get to make things hard on ourselves, but to know that that's really our true nature and how you want to learn how to create your reality. It's this. This is, we're literally handing you the key. It's this revising your
Mhm.
memories, being in your heart space, sending love to people that wish you not well, or if you have conflict, and then being in your bliss. And then, ironically, all those things will bring you closer to your bliss. That's the irony.
Mhm. Right?
It's all just like showing you how to get there. So, this was amazing. Thank you so much. And see, and also just a gratitude for you because I've been thinking about like
Mm.
taking people off mute, and I actually like this. I like these
Mhm.
conversations and bringing that into the membership so I can be excited about the membership. I love to teach, but I also love to have this dynamic. And so I'm still trying to figure out how, like, if I'm going to just do it at the end every time, or we'll have like, one day where it's like open conversation and coaching. But I love this. I love connecting with people and I forget. And then I do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bring this into the membership. So thank you for that. And that reminder of
Yeah.
like how much I enjoy this.
Mm. Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Well, keep us posted on how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
so curious because you're leaving with all these
Yeah.
like tools. So let us know how
Yeah.
it goes. And I will see you next
Sounds good.
week. All
Okay.
right.
Thanks, Fran.
Bye.
Bye.